Right. Aha. There we are. Now the sound should be working. Right. Aha. There we are. Now the sound should be working. Right. Okay. So yeah, today I'm just going to be working a bit on the actually the t-shirt's a Sonic theme. Right. It's actually a Sonic anniversary t-shirt, this one. But anyway, yeah, I need to stop the audio coming back out of the machine to me, so I don't need to see the stream running myself. Okay, so let's take a look at things, how things are looking in this level. Alright, people. Alright, let me know if anything goes wrong with the stream. But at the moment, yeah, so I'm making a new level. And it actually follows a similar theme to one that we took to EGX, although the one at EGX had a surface. The idea of this one is it doesn't have a surface. It's a because we're not ready to bring the surface to people yet. But it's got an underground section with a different way of doing things, and the idea is it will spawn enemies in for you. And at the moment, it's pretty much just a shell. It looks a bit weird, I know. So basically, you've got an area you can build in, but there's a lot of the map already dug out, kind of around the edge. It's got to run around. So it should play a bit differently to what any of the other levels have played. You'll notice if I press play from here, it doesn't crash. Yeah, the idea is that there'll be a difficulty you can set, or you can set it so you can control what comes at you. Although that doesn't do much yet. All that does is set a difficulty, and there's no enemy spawn. So that's what I'm working on now, is getting the enemies spawning in. Okay. So back to where I was before I put the stream up. That's selecting the difficulty. Okay. Here we are in the yeah, so this is a something called the Underground Swarm Manager. And what this is going to do is it's going to make a decision every so long on whether to spawn some enemies or not. And then what those enemies do will be decided by kind of a temperament of those enemies and various other factors. So first of all, there's just a timer going on. Once the timer reaches its end, it needs to make a decision. Do I spawn a swarm? Actually, it needs to do this first, sorry. So that's just resetting the timer there. It's calculating what the timer should be reset to. At the moment, that's just a random thing, but I will make that more specific as time goes on. And then it's deciding whether to spawn some enemies. If that's true, If that's true, we go down this road. If it's false, it doesn't matter. It'll just reset the whole thing. Okay. So once it has decided to spawn enemies, it needs to decide where to spawn them at. And at the moment, it basically just takes all the spawn holes I've added to the level and picks a random one and returns that. I think I'm going to leave that random for now, unless I decide I need to do anything more specific with it. Okay, so it's this underground swarm manager we're looking at. So at the moment, we've done do I spawn swarm? At the moment, all that does is say yes. I will build a decision into that as well. Let's calculate the timer reset. At the moment, all it is 10 seconds plus or minus 5 seconds. Okay, that's actually to do with the clicking the start button. When you click the start button, this function runs, so ignore that for now. Okay, so we selected a spawn location. After that, we want to select what we want to spawn. So the two enemies in the game, you've met them already, are the black ant and the devil's coach horse larva. Yeah, this is the new underground stuff. So as you can see, all the walls are kind of given random perturbations and different shapes and various other bits and bobs that creates a very different looking underground, with everything with it having a unique look to it, every tile. Right, so I need a new function. And what this is going to output is a creature class. For now, I'm just going to have it Devil's Coach Horse Swarm. For now, I'm just going to have it output that immediately, but it should also output Black Ant Swarm. In fact, I'm just going to get a random int. Random integer between 0 and 1 at the moment. So that Z0. Actually, So yeah, there'll be a black ant swarm. I'm not sure because I didn't use the black ant before. Liam's got the black ant checked out. This one has never been checked in. No, it is a swarm creature. I believe Devil's Coach Horse. Coach Horse. Yeah. Yeah. Black ant swarm. So yeah, it needs to be that really. Swarm black ant. Okay, so there it's just picking randomly between the two. Now really what I want that is to be is a weighted decision. But I'll come back to that. It's because defaults. It's meant to be the other way around. Right. I'm in the wrong thing at the minute. So that's select spawn creature. Graph. Spawn creature. New param. Need to give that a name. To be honest, this should be a swarm creature actually. Right, so we've now got a creature to spawn. So we've got the location, the creature. We need another function. So select quantity to spawn. which is going to output an integer. For now, again, it's just going to be a random integer. Okay, this is a bit different now, because this will be based on what kind of creature has been decided to spawn. So this needs an input. So it receives a class. If it's equal to right, so there's going to be basically different quantities for the different types of creature. They are going to be randomized slightly. So if it's equal to it's equal to swarm black ant, we go that way. Else if it's equal to devil's coach horse, we go this way. Random integer. Okay, so the max is going to be based on the creature that we're looking at. So I'm going to create some local variables. These are going to be integers. You're right, Mike. So there's going to be a minimum max. No, yeah, there's going to be a minimum max. And for now, it's just going to pick a random one. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to have the logic be randomly between those two. Okay, so the max devil's coach horse in a swarm should be 10. The minimum should be 1. Minimum black ants. I get the feeling that any less than 4 is going to be pointless. Maximum black ants, 30. I think that sort of makes sense. These are all variables that are going to need toying with. So it's going to be a random integer between 2 values. Um, we're going to have the same down here. Okay, so and we need to do a return with that, with a text, just warning me that this shouldn't happen. I'll just return none in that situation. Okay. So now underground. So now the quantity is now based on the type of creature being spawned. So I've got select spawn creature. So we've got select quantity to spawn. Now this needs an input of the class to spawn in order for it to be able to work that out properly. Okay, so we've got a location, a type, and a quantity. Next, we're gonna edit the temperament, which is something I built in before. I should actually probably take a quick look at how I did it before. I think it's in AI, Swarm. It's Swarm Manager Decide, I believe, is where everything happened. Yeah, size, temperament, there we are. So, yeah, before temperament was decided through a... Yeah, this is the kind of weighted decisions, and this is what I'll be working towards eventually. But it returns a swarm temperament enum. So that's key to what I'm trying to do at the minute. So let's deal with that. Function. Select temperament. Output. Someone tell me if I've spelt temperament wrong. Temperament. Temperament. You know what? Today I was looking for some old games. I stumbled upon an old MS-DOS game called Simant, similar to this. Yeah, Simant definitely has. We definitely have heavy influences from Simant, but also Dungeon Keeper as well. There's a couple of old games that we've got influences from. I'd say in our game, it's you have more control than Simant, but not but still not a high level of control. The ants are they do their own thing, but you do have more control than Simant. Temperament. Okay. Right. Swarm temperament. Okay, so they're the temperaments that the swarm creature accepted. I need it basically for now to select a random temperament before I can get around to actually making it weighted. So coffee's cold now. Zero, 1, 2, 3. Right, I can either have multiple return points or I can have... Yeah, that's fine. It's only 4 items. Okay, so this will change the way the ants are reacting, essentially. It's going to there. Not ants. This will change the way the... Well, some of them are ants. But the swarms are reacting. And are acting. It'll influence all their decisions, is the idea. Okay, passive, neutral, defensive, aggressive. Default needs to go somewhere. That's what it's not happy about. Default can go into passive. It should never end up in default, but temperament. I need to remember that. Okay, so that's just a random temperament now. The moment everything's going to be random, and then I'll go back over it all. I actually don't need this open for now, so I'll just close it. That's the level blueprint. All that is doing is the select difficulty dialog that comes up at the start of this level. Hello, War Master 101. Yeah, it's going all right. This level should be quite a bit different. I've got some plans for it as well, and because I've noticed people are getting competitive. I'm considering creating like a scoreboard for this level, so people can try and knock each other off the top spot. Right, so okay, so we got a quantity to spawn, select temperament. Okay, so we've got location, type, quantity, and temperament. I think that's all it needs. Now it needs to actually do it. So I need to create a function called spawn spawn pending creatures. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically have a creature queue to spawn, so they don't all rush out. So basically, you don't end up with 10 spawning at once in a really small area. So basically, we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 coming in. No, the new demo is not up and running yet. We're still developing it. That's what I'm working on at the moment. This is the new level for it. Matt is working on the new UI for it. Liam was looking at some of the ant AI and making sure they don't get stuck on each other underground anymore. That's been fixed. And there's something else they're doing. Oh, digging. We've been looking at the digging algorithms and selecting which side of the tile to go to, so they won't walk a really stupid way around anymore. But yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. I think I need to pull a couple of all-nighters and see if I can get these levels spammed out. Nah, take my time with it. Get it right. No one wants a bad game. Spawn pending creatures. Right. So, each time a swarm pack is decided, what's going to happen is there'll be actually, before I have a function spawn pending creatures, let's create one called add swarm to queue. Okay, so add swarm to queue will take in all of these other things that we've got. So we've got a tunnel to so that's a tunnel spawner reference, a tunnel spawner reference, a swarm creature class, an integer, and a swarm temperament enum. All of those need to be taken in. Oh, music stopped. Dig, dig, dig. The idea of having dead bugs you kill and ants be able to be added to the available food for the colony group going to be added. Yeah, some of the your ants will. I'm pretty sure we've decided ants aren't going to be edible, so you're never going to be able to eat other ants, but you will be able to eat other creatures. Some of the demo levels actually currently do that. You might not notice it though, because they don't. The current system of doing it is they just take food out of the body, and once the body's empty of food, the body just sinks into the floor. I'd like to do some more dismemberment of the corpses. I think that would be good, but at the moment we that's not in place, and it won't be in place for a while. So that's tunnel to spawn in. Oh, what else did I say? Lost my train of thought. Tunnel to spawn in, a swarm class. Tunnel to spawn. Creature. No. Tunnel to spawn. Creature to spawn. Quantity to spawn. Temperament of swarm. Temperament. Okay, only 2 of these needs to be stored because the... Oh no, the tunnel does, 3 of them do. The temperament doesn't need to be stored because that'll be generated when the actual swarm event object is created. What would be cool is having ants carry off body parts like heads and legs instead of having a melting body. Yeah, totally. Totally agree. The dismemberment would be fantastic, being able to tear off a leg or something. And we'll certainly look towards that. I mean, what we probably do in the end is when a creature actually dies, it gets replaced with like bits of a creature that are in the same place as the dead creature. So there's a leg and whatnot, and an ant spends a couple of seconds chewing and then carries the leg back. Quantity, so that's an integer. Oh, damn it, no. That's a enum temperament. Okay. So when it gets added to queue, so we're going to need... Doesn't look like... To be honest, I think you have to define these structures elsewhere. Might be able to do it in the... No, looks like it needs to be defined in the C++. Oh, no. Okay, to be honest, I don't need to do that. So what I need to do is I need to store... Yeah. Because they're not spawning instantly, they've kind of got to be put in this backlog. But that's fine. Ants carry off, yeah. Yeah, that's the same one. At the moment, I'm working on it's a manager that spawns enemy creatures. So the idea is that there's in this underground there's multiple of these kind of little tunnel exits around the map, and that every now and again an amount of creatures will come and attack you through them, and this is deciding how many creatures, what type, how aggressive they are. So it's kind of managing the enemies attacking you. So in the queue it needs a piece of paper. So there needs to be a... Right, the quantity doesn't need to be stored, actually thinking about it, because it can literally just be a queue. So there needs to be an array of types. Class. Tunnel. Quantity to spawn. Quantity isn't needed to be saved, but there's an array of the type, the tunnel. Oh, and it needs to store the reference to swarm object. So first thing I want to do is create a swarm object here, which is this essentially. So I need to copy that into here. Okay, so that's spawning a swarm blueprint, which follows the swarm behavior tree. I'll come to that in a moment. So the first thing that's going to happen in here is it's going to spawn this object. Now, it's going to spawn this object within a certain radius of the tunnel to spawn at. So the first thing it needs to do is get actor location. Of the tunnel it's spawning at. All right, this isn't where the spawn's going to swarm, but what this is the point that the swarm is going to head towards. Yeah, a bit like a wave system. Although the way this works is they're not necessarily going to attack you. They're just going to spawn. So they might just walk around for a bit, and then it'll be your choice if you want to attack them, or they could make the decision to go straight for your queen. So yeah, it's like the thing that makes a wave system, but without a set timer. It instead is making decisions when to spawn things, and the things won't necessarily go straight for you. They might do. Depends how evil I am. Get random. Right, so this is get random point in navigation radius. Okay, so it's taking that as the origin, and it's finding a random point to make the swarm head towards. I'm going to give them a fairly large one to start with, so they get away from the exit. Most of the time, they'll get away from the exit. So, how big do I want it? Right, a tile is about 200 across. So within 10 tiles, so 1,000. Cool. So I'll get a random point within 1,000 to spawn this swarm object at. Okay, so the swarm object will need to be given its temperament, which is what's happening there. So I need to cast it to... I believe I do anyway. I don't think there's... Yeah, the return value is just a pawn. Okay. So as a swarm, I need to set its temperament. Okay, so this is the second piece of data we're taking from what came in at the start. What I'm going to do, for the sake of keeping things neat, I'm going to create some local variables. Okay, so there we are. So this is creature. It's because the input variable is called creature to spawn. Temperament. Yeah, spelled it right. Go me. I know I said this is to keep it neat, and now it just looks like a massive mess. Trust me, this will keep things neat in the long run. It's the inevitability of blueprints. If you try and do something too clever with them, it ends up a bit messy. Okay, so now I can set the temperament. Okay, so we've generated this swarm object, and we've okay. So the next thing we need is at this level of things. I don't think that's used anywhere. I think I just created that a moment ago. We need to create this set of arrays. We haven't actually got any plans for Fog of War. It's something we discussed early on, and we think because of the way the game works and the fact that scouting isn't actually a thing in it in our current mechanics, that we don't think we're going to introduce Fog of War. We think the players should just be able to see what each other has and respond to it without scouting. I mean, underground you've got caves, right? So you can tunnel out into other caves, which is sort of like a Fog of War, but not really. I haven't actually made any caves in this level yet. I should do that. But it's not that important for this level. I'm gonna need to get coffee in a moment. Yeah, I'll be back in a second, guys. Just gonna grab a coffee. Coffee. We've had some great streamers cover us actually. I'm really pleased with the streamers that covered us. Most people have discovered the game from streamers covering it, which is great. It's fantastic. And that's just the first demo we had out. We're hoping this one will spawn some more streamer interest. Spawn, haha. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this produce a quick error message for me, just in case that does occur. Shouldn't occur, but just in case. Okay, so that sets the temperament of it. Next, we need to add the ants to the spawn groups. So I need to create these spawn groups. So the first one, I wrote down what they need to be. So I need the class. So the first one's the class. Let's do that. It's going to be a swarm creature. So we've got an array of swarm creatures. The chat's quite quiet at the moment. There's like 8 people in here, but they're all... you're the only one that's actually speaking at the moment. I think a lot of people have just left it going in the background. Oh, that's fantastic. It's great when streamers cover us. Just because it's so good for exposure. I mean, we're only a small team, so we can't have big marketing drives and things like that. So we're kind of relying on word of mouth and streamers. Okay, so... okay, so there's that. So the next one is Q tunnel. Next. This is the last thing. It's the reference to the swarm object. Q. That's going to be a swarm BP reference. Okay, so the way this works is we basically need to add no, we need to do this in a loop, don't we? So it's quantity to spawn. Wrong. Okay. Okay, so quantity to spawn, Actually, we should start that off at 1. This goes through 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So we're not 0 reference there. Okay, so for each tunnel spawn, swarm object, and class. I've got tunnel spawn twice. Swarm object and class. So it adds. That's the tunnel. Again, another add command. And again, another add command. This is the object, so that's actually this. So it's going to loop through and add an ant to spawn for each. Yeah, so it'll just throw them all into this overall queue, which will then be picked up by the thing that actually spawns them. Okay, what's going on? Looks away, strong silent type. Well, I'll do my best to put your game on the map as much as I can. Thanks very much, Warmaster. Also have a word with a few friends of mine who are bigger streamers, and see if I can get them on board on the bus as well. But bud. Oh, thanks very much, Warmaster. We really appreciate it. And if you do cover the game, make sure you send us a link, so we can promote your playthroughs. Whew, okay, completed. Right, so once it's completed, I don't think it needs to actually do anything, because that's it done, right? We've spawned the... Yeah, okay. Okay, we've got some warnings. Can't pass default value of 0. Right, I know what this is. Yep, it's done. It was getting confused, but it's dealt with it now. Right. Oh, please do. We'll make sure we share it. I'm going to need that swarm manager to side, because that's basically what I'm doing now. I've done before, but I'm trying to make a better version of it. This got very messy. And this basically spawned the whole thing in one big chunk. What I'm trying to do now is create kind of a flow coming in. Okay, so... So yeah, I created a function earlier. So add swarm to queue. select temperament. Okay, so tunnel, class, quantity, temperament. Okay, so there's them being added to queue. Now, the actual spawning of them is something that should happen before it does any check or anything. So it should basically run this spawn pending creatures function before doing anything. Okay, so spawn pending creatures doesn't do anything yet, but it will. So it's this essentially that I need it to do. So it's spawn AI from class. Okay, so first thing I'm actually going to do is it needs a timer on this. So it's going to try and spawn a creature every, probably between 0.2 and 0.5 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create not a local variable to the function, but just a generic variable. It's going to be a standard float. It's going to be called creature spawn timer. First thing it's going to do is it's going to say if it's less than or equal to 0, then it's time to spawn a creature. Time to try and spawn a creature. So it's time to spawn a creature. If not, it's time to decrement the timer. Should promote the game for Halloween. Tell people, do you want to play some creepy crawly game this Halloween? Try Empires of the Undergrowth. Swarm timer. It's not swarm timer. It's spawn creature timer. Creature spawn timer. Okay, so there we are. That's decrementing the timer. That's if it's false, actually. We decrement the timer. If it's true, we're spawning creatures. And all the seeds in the ground with candy. Candy. American. Give all the answer scythe, yeah, of course. Right. It's less than 0.0. So if it's true, first thing we need to do is reset the creature spawn timer with, I'm going to create a local variable that I'm just purely going to use for spawn reset time. So no, float, random float. Blueprints is so strange. It's quick though. Okay, so it resets it to a random value between those values. Then we try and spawn a creature. So we only spawn it if there's one to spawn. If not, we start the counter again. So we need a branch, and we need to say, okay, so these three are the queue, right? Yeah, it says queue at the beginning. So this one will do for now. So if its length's greater than 0, we spawn a creature, else we do nothing. Okay, so what creature are we spawning? It should follow the swarm creature behavior tree, that's fine. Basically, it's going to take the next creature in the queue. Given a random index, returns the item found at that index. Okay, so we get the 0 indexed one. Again, 0 indexed one. We need to remember to delete it after this. This is actually get character's location, and then we actually need to project this onto the nav mesh. So I want to get a random point in the navigation radius. This is going to be a much tighter. So this only needs to be near the tunnel. So it needs to be 100. Okay, so what? It's the... Yeah. This actually I don't need until after it's spawned. So its rotation actually needs to be the same as the tunnels. So it's basically facing the... It's facing the right way when it comes out the tunnel. Oh, it's a lot of work to do something like this. Well, I say that. Probably done in a day, day and a half. And hopefully it'd be reusable after I've made it. One would hope. Probably need some work to make it reusable, actually. Again, the 0 indexed one. I need to give it its... It's an actor reference. Right, I need to remember how these work, so I need to have a quick look at this. So once the creature's spawned, sets its colony ID and its swarm point. Its swarm point is just the... Yeah, cool. And then it needs to add itself into the... Yeah, okay. Well, I just messaged a few friends of mine and told them to take a look at the game on Kickstarter. I can't guarantee the best I can do. Oh, thanks. The Kickstarter ended quite a while ago, but hope we haven't got it. But from there, yeah, you can find everything about the game. Oh, my music stopped again. Appreciate it, Warmaster. Again, I just want just a message to come out if that's not right, and that can happen, and that tends to happen when it tries to spawn something, but it's not. Yeah, it tries to spawn something, but it fails. Right, these need to be -1, which is the neutral colony ID. Additionally, it needs to be I need to give it a location as well. Its location can actually be done with this function here. And what this function actually does is it draws a line from the sky straight down, and if it hits the surface, it'll set it to the surface, else it'll set it to whatever it hits. So it knows, basically it knows whether it's on the surface or underground. Obviously in this map there is no surface. But it still needs to be set anyway. Okay, so I believe that's everything I need to... hang on, no, I actually need to add this into the... hang on. Swarm creatures. So this needs to be added into the swarm creatures, right? Okay. Right. So let's just add a comment so I know what's going on. And finally, I want to remove the item that's 0 indexed. Remove item at the given index from the array. So I basically need to remove the 0 indexed item from each of these. Because that's what I've spawned. I've spawned the 0 index. Okay. Hopefully soon we'll be able to see this in action. Whew. That's very, very good of you, Warmaster. Okay, so how are we doing? Okay, so first time I run this, I'm fully expecting it to go horribly wrong. Just because the amount of stuff I've done without testing it, it's not going to go right. But what theoretically should happen is every 5 to 15 seconds, the game should decide to spawn something, then randomly select what it's spawning, the amount it's spawning, and where it's spawning it from. Yeah, so fully expecting this to crash the first time I do it. Oh, well, it's working. It is totally working. And they look like they're heading straight for my queen. Yep. Right, okay, so we've clearly got some issues. Chief amongst them being the sheer amount of ants that are coming to kill me. In the range that they can see. But no, you are... we are at least working to an extent. Although that seemed to be spawning them very quickly. Okay. Okay, well, before I do anything, let's take a look at what we've created here. What monster we've created. Append. I thought it was append. Next. Oh no, that's not what I'm after. This is why I'm doing this. What is it? I thought it was append, but clearly I'm wrong. Oh no, there, string append. Why wasn't that coming up before? I thought it was that. That should probably go there. Okay, so I'm going to get basically some feedback on how quickly it's actually spawning things. Right, there we are, spawning swarm 19. Okay, well, there's clearly something amiss with the AI in the swarm, which I totally expected, actually. Which I will come to in a second. Okay, I should probably actually look at the swarm AI now, thinking about it. Let's get that functioning. So this is, it's like swarm creature, really. Okay, so this is the actual swarm's decision, but it's not that I'm looking at yet. I want to look at the swarm creature. So there's a swarm manager behavior tree there, but it's not what I'm looking for either. So there is a swarm creature behavior tree here. So it's trying to attack immediately. First thing I want to do is check what the black ant's vision radius is, because it might have some stupidly high one. I suspect it does, actually. Where's the swarm creature? So Devil's Coach Horse Swarm is one of them. I think that's the one that would be okay, but it seems to be the black ants that are constantly being spawned at the moment, which is Swarm Black Ant. So if we have a look at some of the creature's stats. There we are. You can see 5,000 tiles, not 5,000 radius, which is about 50 tiles, which is pretty much the whole map. This one can see 400 tiles, so that's much smaller radius. So let's match that. Thanks very much, Warmaster. Thanks for joining me. Very much appreciate you being here and asking questions about the game. And do leave us a message when if you do cover the game. And this new demo should be out soonish. I can't say an exact date because obviously it's not finished yet. But yeah, keep an eye out for it on the Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for stopping by. No problem. All right, where were we? Sorry, I was just catching up with social media. Okay, so now I've changed that. We should see a difference in the... So some of them have spawned already. So... Right. Okay, so what's happening here is this was set up, designed for the ants to be on the surface. Designed for there to be a surface and an underground. I now need to edit it so it can have the possibility of there not being a surface. So it needs to be a decision whether or not to go to the surface or underground rather than just making it a default action. So, right, my coffee is empty again, so I'm going to deal with that issue before we move on. In the meantime, I'll just press play and you can watch my queen get killed, perhaps, or the map just crash. Well, my queen's still alive at least. Yeah, we can see some strangenesses going on the mini map. So let's deal with the strange. So what have we got? Lots of ants. I need to sort the mini-map out on this map. The mini-map's not in its final form. This isn't even my final form. Something I'm noticing is it's all ants as well. So I'm going to jot down the issues, so to speak. The queen does live. It's basically because the ants are just confused. That's the only reason. But I'll deal with it. Okay, so issues we have. Ants trying to go to surface. Other issues. Only ants spawning. Okay, so they're the two that I can see at the minute. So let's deal with those two first. No errors though, which is always good. Okay, so it's to do with this beast. So nothing wrong with that. It's actually to do with this. So first of all, it's checking to see if it's got unusual status. We actually haven't implemented any unusual status yet. So next, it's checking to see if it's set to attack enemy. It won't be because there's no enemies nearby. That's why they were heading to the queen, because they could see the queen because they had some stupid sight range. What have you missed? We're basically setting up the level. We're setting up the level to spawn packs of enemies to come at the player. Currently based on randomness, but we're going to make it much more specific as time goes on. So that's if it's idling, which is the key because it will be idling. And a lot of this idling is based on whether the ant is on the surface or not. Right, it ended up in, well, let's check where it ends up, right? Let's not guess. Let's actually check what the ants do. What's going through their brains. Let's dissect their brains. Yes, master. Okay, so a load of ants are being spawned. So they're ending up in here. So, am I on surface? Inversed is what swarm point on surface. So it thinks the swarm point is on the surface. Now the swarm point shouldn't be. So what that suggests to me is that I actually didn't set the location of the swarm point, which is totally possible. So where did we spawn the Spawn pending creatures. Add swarm to... Yeah, it's in here. Yeah, that's what's happened. Location. Right. Let me add a comment around this anyway. Add creatures to queue. Just neatening this up so I know what the hell's going on. Right, so colony location needs to be... needs to be fetched dynamically. So there we go. Come on. Okay. Will it be similar to the holdout level? Yes and no. Because what it's actually going to do is it's going to have a good pub trip, Mike. What it's actually going to do is it's going to it'll be a chance to spawn things, and they won't necessarily attack you. That's why there's so much space in this map. It's so things can wander around, and you can go to them. So it's going to have elements of the holdout level, but it's going to be its own beast entirely. I'm going to do some... I've got some evil tricks planned as well. So yeah, as you can see, the level's quite different to the holdout level setup. And there's like these entrance tunnels that you get in the holdout level all around the place. There's quite a few of them. Okay, so if we play it now, we should see something different happening. But let's take a look. Where are they going? It's these that we care about, really. Ugh, hard to click on. Keep moving around. Okay. What we have at the moment is way too many ants spawning way too fast. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Matt's worked really hard on them. They're also slightly less shiny than when he showed them on Facebook. So yeah, they're more matte. But yeah, basically, and you can see all the kind of random perturbations on the wall. Oh God, how many ants have we spawned? We're close to 200 ants attacking us now. Okay, let's stop that for a moment. Okay, something's going wrong. Something I actually need to do. Oh, no, that's alright, actually. Huh. So there's an issue here. In that... so that's part of the nav mesh that isn't actually accessible by... but it's slightly raised, so there's a chance... hang on. Right, so this is the nav mesh bounds volume. It's the Y value I want to change. Oh, Z. I'm sorry. Z value that I want to change. It's going to take it a while to build the navigation. I'm going to make changes to this. Okay. I need to get over to it. Okay. It's a delicate operation at the minute because I'm trying to move it down low enough so it doesn't put those... so it doesn't try and build navigation in areas that ants can't reach, so there's no breaks in the navigation. There'll be a sweet spot. Let's try and do it. If I say -5, what comes up? No. -10. -20. Whew, right, let's go for something larger and see if it makes a difference, because at the minute it's kind of... no, yeah, that definitely made a difference. So sweet spot's somewhere between 20 and 50. It's lower than 30. Let's try 40. I reckon there might even be a couple of pixels in this, you know. So definitely if I put -50 in, yeah. Right. 49. I of course mean centimeters, not pixels. Oh, you're kidding. It makes 49.5. $49.9. .8. Oh my goodness. This is ridiculous. $49.7. No. 49.6. Ah, you're kidding. 0.65. I don't reckon this is going to be... This may be something I need to toy with in my own time. Basically, I need to get rid of those. It's something that's happened within the new tile system, and it's not good. Matt did a bang up job of it. Change track. Okay, and that needs to be dealt with at some point. I'm just hoping that it's not that that's causing the issue. See, there's a chance let's have a look at let's have a look at how the swarm's actually relocating itself. So this is the swarm behavior tree. Relocate swarm near target locations. Relocate swarm random. Okay, this is the most common one it does. Get random point in navigational radius. That should be fine. Right. I guess we need to actually look in swarm decide, right? Alright, I need to go through this logic somewhat. Okay, so based on its temperament, it uses these weightings, which I believe are already set. Yeah. I set at some other point. So it uses those weightings, makes a decision based on those weightings. So it's either path random, which he just returns. Okay, right. There's two other decisions. We've got colony location thrown in, which isn't necessarily going to be a good thing anymore. So pathing to a resource, we'll try and one sec. I actually need to speak to one of the other developers. So yeah, this colony location thing, it's basically saying if the colony location is not equal to, so if it's not the surface, so it's not equal to the surface, it instead paths randomly. So it's underground. Instead of pathing to enemies or pathing to resources, it just paths randomly, which I don't want it to do. So for now, I'm just going to disable that. There's one other thing that I had on my list of things that I need to deal with. That doesn't need to be open anymore. And that was select creature. For some reason, it's never returning that. There we are. Returns a uniformly distributed random number between 0 and max -1. Okay, so now we should start to see some Devil's Coach Horse appearing. Or, you know, just nothing appearing instead. It's the other option. Oh no. That's quite a big pack of Devil's Coach Horse that spawned that. So it's happened. Crashed. Of course it was going to crash. Right. Let me just copy that into an empty notepad file so I can figure out what crashed it. Titan problem.png. Okay, so let's have a look at the error that I just got. Calculate path length. Oh, it's to do with me right clicking. I'm just going to quickly check out what crashed that. It's definitely something that I've put in place. But it's to do with me right clicking. Okay. 114. I can see what crashed it. But I don't know why it got in there in the first place. Although I might be able to. Hang on. Sorry, I'll bring the code over. Just thought of something else as well. 1 sec. Sorry, just whilst things are in my head, I'm just kind of dealing with them. It's the only time it's called. And for some reason it ended up with -1. No idea why. But I want to see if that crash is... Sorry, pardon me. I want to see if that crash is repeatable. I suspect it will be. I suspect as soon as I right click it's going to crash. Wow, that was quick. Yep, as soon as I right click it crashes. It's the same place, 114, yep. From begin play. The issue I'm having is 114 is meant to it's meant to only be called if the tiles on the surface. Hang on, let me just check something. So that's 114, right? Yeah. It's utilities. -1. Okay, it's getting the owner. Get colony identifier. So it's cycling through the player states. So if the player state tile grid is the same as the right. If the tile grid returned is the same as temp tile grid, which is colliding, it runs player state get colony identifier. Okay, let me check something. This might just be something wrong with the setup of my level. In fact, I know what I should check. I know what I should check. I'm actually going to give the Division another go tonight, because they released the patch yesterday. So the friends of mine that used to play the Division, we're going to give it another go, see if it's actually been improved. So what am I looking for here? I need to have a look at the level. I suspect the player's actually set up wrong. No. Doesn't look like it's set up wrong. So let's go to the level blueprint. I'm not going to crash it. what it does is it gets my guess is that this is never triggering in this case. And so location's just coming back as -1. Let's see what the creatures are all coming back as. Don't right click. Colony location is coming back as 0. So that's got the right colony location. It's call to arms flag, that's the issue. Division lost a lot of players when Rise of Iron came out for Destiny. Yeah, it will have done. But it was on a steady decline anyway because of errors that were in the game. But they had they delayed all their DLC and instead decided to give it a bit of an overhaul, and they did like a massive beta and fix the issues with the massive beta. So I'm hopeful that the new patch is going to have fixed a lot of the issues that it had. I play the Division on PC anyway. I did play Destiny. I haven't played the latest expansion. Yeah, but I played that on PS4. Colony location. All right. I think this is what the issue is, but I'm not quite sure what's causing it. For now. Yeah, it did seem like such a shame after they had such a strong previous expansion. It's like the... What was it called? What was the previous expansion called? That one was really good, and it really improved on their storytelling. I mean, I didn't manage the raid in the previous one, but there was plenty for me to do, and there was. But I've heard Rise of Iron kind of had. It's almost like a step back. People have kind of they've got their own opinions of why it's happening, but everyone knows that they're working on a follow-up to Destiny, right? Or at least that's the rumors, that there's a Destiny 2 in the works. So the kind of rumors are that they're putting less effort into... They put less effort into Rise of Iron because they're putting more into a follow-up. We'll see. Have a look around social media. Compile time. Oh yeah, Taken King, that was it. Yeah, that's a shame. Was it any cheaper, the Rise of Iron? Okay, now when I right click it shouldn't crash it at least. It's coming back as that. It's not coming back as anything. Well, of course it won't. But it's coming back as -1 when I right click on here. What's going on? I guess we're looking for Swarm. Yeah. So there should be one near here. There's one precisely there. Theoretically, if I move it, these should follow it. That's kind of how the swarm creatures work is that there's this object and they're following it. Oh, something crazy is going on there. But these have got a behaviour tree of their own. I'm guessing their behaviour tree is not operational, so I'll deal with that in a bit. But yeah, there is a serious issue with the this. See, it's working for everything else, which is what's annoying me. I mean, what's it doing? It's doing a sphere trace for multiple objects. That might be it. And location Z. Maybe. I need to check out here to use utilities anyway. This is really interrupting my flow. I was doing well. Oh yeah, so yeah. Let's not talk about Destiny anymore. Okay. See if that makes any difference. I'm just wondering whether if the call to arms points were more than like a couple of pixels off the ground, that function may actually not have picked it up. So I'm hoping that that's the problem. If that's the problem, we're okay. Else, I'm gonna have to spend my time trying to deal with it. Still coming back to -1. You know what the issue is? It's not appearing, is it? It's not appearing at all. Have I removed it from the level? Hang on. God, look at that mess. Okay, hang on. What's he doing over there? Does that look weird to you? See, click location doesn't seem like something that should be an integer. Oh no, maybe it should. Hang on. I need to take a look at some of the other levels. I think something's basically happened in the change from one level to another. So let's have a look in the level that I made with the surface in. Yeah, click locations are... Oh, for flip's sake. Okay, so click location is meant to be set from this location break hit results coming from EOTU controller. Okay, remember that. Remember. So at least we found the root of the problem. Right, so for a start, click location is meant to be a vector. Oh, what's it doing? There. Right, come on. Come on, game. Ugh. Okay, something more complicated's going on here. This is never getting run, so click location's never getting set. So if there is a right click reacting object, work it. here's another set. Fun times. Fun times. Bug fixing. Hey! And has it come back correct? Yes. Yes, it has. Okay. I can get back to what I was doing. So that can go back to what it was before, which was 1. And I can comment these back in and get rid of that. Okay. Cool. So now when I right click, it shouldn't crash. Yeah, but it does go to the breakpoint because... Cool. Hey. Sweet. All right. Yeah, sussed it. It was something that happened when I created this level. Some wires got crossed somewhere, and something that should have been a vector ended up being an integer, so it broke all its links to things. But I found it, so we're good, and we're not crashing anymore. 2 thumbs fresh. Can I assume that the Kickstarter backer beta test is next year? January. You can assume it's next year, yeah. I'd say giving it a specific date like that's going to be hard. I think the first thing we're going to want to test is with the backers is the surface mechanics. So all the game mechanics need to be as complete as we can get them. Not necessarily the content, but the game mechanics for that one. Then after that, we'll want backers to... there'll be a later test, which won't be mechanics based. It will be storyline based. So we'll want the backers to test the story, the campaign. So there'll be 2 beta phases really. One will be just kind of the skirmish setup beta test, and the other one will be the campaign and make sure the campaign's working. And obviously the campaign one's going to be much closer to the release date, but the kind of skirmish style test will be before that and be when we've got all the mechanics in place for it. So yeah, that's... But I can't give you a specific month for it. I'd much rather not give a specific month than give a specific month and have to break it. Learning as we're developing that things don't always go to plan. Doesn't matter how many sleepless nights you have. But anyway, this demo should be out soon. We were aiming for the end of this month, but it's very close to the end of this month. And we've still got a list of things we want to get in. Resource, sorry. Resource blueprint. Oh, right, no. That does work. Right, this is something that's been added for this as well. Is rather than knife and fork symbol, you can actually just see the outline of the food that you're of the food items underneath. So it's kind of a different visual representation rather than a giant knife and fork. Oh gosh, look at that. Right, okay. I believe there's a problem with the point moving itself. Oh. This is spawning things way too quick. There's two answers to that one. The Unreal Engine build of it was started in January this year. So we've been working on this build of the game since then. However, we were working on a mobile version of the build before this, which we've put to one side now because we're building our own engine with it, and it was taking forever. But we were working on that for a couple of years. So what I would say is the game mechanics have been in work for a couple of years, but the actual building of the game has been since January this year. So the game's looking all right for being built since January. Anyway, I'm just gonna nip the loo. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a moment. I'm gonna get a drink as well. What I'll do is I'll press play just in case anything interesting happens. Maybe it'll crash or something. That'll be interesting. Right. Ooh. No target, no target. Yeah, there's definitely something strange going on. Honestly, all we need help-wise is word of mouth. Spread the word. Not really. We're not looking for, and also testing. When we create builds, we need people to test them. And that's what this is really. It's part look at the amount of stuff that's spawned. Okay, yeah, there's clearly quite a few issues going on. So we'll get to these, shall we? See, stuff like this, these are all broken now. So we need to take a look at the spawning thing. Okay, so first of all, how often is it spawning creatures? So immediately it spawned a group of 14. Like, straight away. A 5 and a 6. Right, so I don't think there's anything wrong with my spawning of things, but I believe I'll leave it at a high spawn rate until I've finished testing. What I need to find is the swarm. So it's these, and what I need to do is I need to look at their behavior trees actually. Oh. No, that's the pawn. This is what I think I'm looking at. Right, there's an example. Right, look, that's actually stuck in here. Cast underground. Oh. Thanks, Upsy. Appreciate it. Okay, right. Basically, this is talking about underground tunnel exit.bp, right? So what it's doing is it's saying cast a swarm if colony location is not equal to 1. So it's not equal to 1, minus 1. Go this way. Else go that way. I want to rewrite this to not do that. Relocate swarm random shouldn't have anything to do with colony location. So for now, I'll just do that. What I want is is a decision to be made to go to the surface if there is a surface. Hold on. Hang on, one moment. So I'm chatting to one of the other developers. Right, so that should so now that should be randomly relocating itself. Oh. Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, where's it gone? Where has it gone? Where has it gone? Look at its location. Wow. My guess is that's the highest value possible. See, these are all broken because they're trying to head to this. That's in some ridiculous location. I reckon it's... Right, we've got some issues. So basically, the decisions that a swarm can make are to either move randomly nearby, move to a nearby resource, move to an enemy, a nearby enemy, or move to the enemy colony, queen. here we've got a something that doesn't make sense at the moment. Get tile grid by player ID. If it's not equal to nothing, so if it's okay, this is going to get a bit confusing. So what we've got here, if the underground tunnel is not equal to nothing, so if it's equal to something, it does that. If it's equal to nothing, so there is no underground tunnel, so there's no surface. It makes that decision anyway. Okay, so now I've built in the ability for there not to be an underground tunnel. This is the issue with retrofitting something. I may have said this before, but I really enjoy seeing these. Gives us a bit of insight into what goes into a grow game. Yeah, it's not a quick process. I know a lot of people don't really appreciate the amount of effort it takes to put something together. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I need to try and put them on, make sure I put them on YouTube as well. Maybe it. So see that's yeah. Okay. So path to resource. If we end up in path to resource, right? So I've removed these for now, which means it should be able to path to a resource on the surface or underground, and path to an enemy. I think that's sensible. So I'm just going to get rid of those. Okay. So path to resource. So it gets the nearest resource. Does it check if that's nothing? Yes, it does. It does a check here. It also prints the display name, but that's just for debug purposes, I think. So it gets the nearest resource. It needs to also do a check to see if the resource is buried. If the resource is buried, we don't want to. We don't want it trying to path to it. However, get nearest resource. Nearest resource. If we go to the definition of this, nearest resource. Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's anything creative, really. People don't really appreciate what goes into it, but they can't do it. With games, there's a sense of entitlement as well. Like, right. So see, this is going through them. Nearby resource, get active location. So it needs to check whether it's buried. So if it's valid and Swarm, I need to check out Swarm. Source control, it's there for a reason. So if it's valid and damn it. Buried. I want to know where resource reference. Oh, idiot. It's like, why can't I get it? It's because I'm not even there. That's okay. Okay, so that should help there. It's alright. Just making sure the resource isn't buried. Before it didn't have to look because all the resources are on the surface in the demo level. In the EGX demo level. But there is no surface in this. I think I'm gonna end the stream soon. I'll keep going for a bit longer. I've got there's some things I need to sort out for my colleague. Some questions I need to answer about because he's currently overhauling the control systems. I mean, we've only just had an overhaul, but we kind of evolved on the idea from the feedback we got from EGX. We want to get it right before we let it out in the wild, so to speak. Okay. So now it's yeah, okay. Now it should only return unburied resources. So yeah. So yeah, if it doesn't get a nearby resource, does that? Else, yeah, it passed the nearby resource. Okay, so nearest enemy creature. I don't think there should be a problem with that. But I'm going to have to keep an eye on this because there's... I'll keep an eye out for groups of enemies. Just... Okay. Okay, so they both look sensible locations. Right, what's going on there? The point appears to be stuck in the wall and is not leaving the wall. Seven, 6. See, it tried to relocate the swarm and failed. It's a bit awkward to move around when the game's actually running. I'm trying to work out where that is. See, what I think's happened is, is that sitting on that tiny little sliver there. And it can't pull itself off it. Which obviously wouldn't be an issue if there weren't, if these little slivers of nav mesh didn't exist. But I need to find out why it can't get off the wall once it's there. So yeah, relocate swarm random. This has been removed from the mix. Shift that down there just so we know it's been removed. What it does is it gets its current location, get random reachable point. Okay. That's my issue. It's my fault. Now at least it'll be able to get out of those situations. Although... maybe that should be reachable. And it's the initial one that should also be reachable. So basically, when it first creates it, which was in our swarm decide code. No, wasn't us. It was in our, what is it? This. first creates it in... This is in this. It's here. So the origin point, instead of random, we get reachable. So that works around the issue. Although I do need to deal with that so the nav mesh isn't sitting in those stupid locations. Right, so that should deal with the problem. We should no longer see ants or creatures stuck in the wall. Not quite sure what's happened here. Huh. Yeah, they've appeared at 0, 0. Okay, seems to have... That's dealt with it. Okay, because I give it no space to... Huh. Hang on. Swan BP3. Same issues happened. Isn't that weird triangle that's in the wall? That one doesn't actually look like it's doing anything. It's not even slightly relocating. It is running it. Oh, where are they going? Actually, they might have decided to attack the queen. Bloody hell. So yeah, there's a few errors going on. Oh. Looks like one of them killed my queen as well. Yeah. Whatever happens to the broken ones, that's happened to these as well. You can start to see the level coming together anyway. There's a couple of big bugs I need to fix there. I think I'll deal with the bugs when I've got a fresh mind tomorrow. Something I have discovered in life is that trying to deal with complicated bugs at the end of the day is not a good idea. So yeah, at the moment we're still kind of dealing the setup and the bug fixing. I mean, when they spawn, yeah, there's a couple that have gone wrong. But yeah, it's starting to come together now. Right, I'm going to end the stream there. Now we've got something working, even though it clearly needs a lot of work yet. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Thanks for taking a look. And hopefully soon this demo should be ready. Obviously, we've got a lot of things we need to iron out. There's a few interface changes, and well, we've got quite a bit of a list, to be honest. But yeah, thanks for joining me. And I'll see you all next time. Take care.